Asaase, 123 FM in Tamale, on our affiliate Stone City Radio in Ho, and across the globe on Asaase TV official on YouTube. Let's begin with COVID-19 because the Food and Drugs Authority has announced that Ghana is planning to establish a COVID-19 vaccine plant. Now, the revelation comes a day after Ghana received the first consignment of COVID-19 vaccines with support from COVAX. Frontline health workers, members of executive, legislature, and frontline security personnel are expected to receive doses of the first batch. The question about what Ghana's plans and efforts are in finding a local treatment of vaccine has come up after the Noguchi Memorial Research Institute first sequenced the genome of the novel coronavirus. Now, Chief Executive Officer of the Food and Drugs Authority, Delise Mimidakun, speaking on the Asaase Breakfast Show, said finding a local vaccine is one of the president's priorities in the fight against COVID-19.
Definitely. That is the president's number one priority, and it has been, at least from I got involved almost a year ago. And actually it is... we have gone down a bit on this because of all the activities we're having to do to try and catch up with this disease. But the president's number one priority is to ensure that we have a vaccine. We actually have a vaccine manufacturing strategy for Ghana. I am part of the team. Noguchi is part of the team. There are a few more researchers. The industry is part of the team. And we're looking to fully establish a vaccine manufacturing plant in Ghana. We will start... Maybe while research is going on, we are planning to have some industries, and we already have one that is up and coming. It's nearly done. We are monitoring that one.
You heard the Chief Executive Officer of the Food and Drugs Authority, Delise Mimidakun. Sleepless nights filled with body pains, loss of taste, smell, and coughs. These and many more are the experiences of survivors of the coronavirus. Now, weeks and even months after testing negative, some survivors complain of experiencing complications similar to the ones encountered whilst treating the virus. Now, some survivors who share their post-COVID experience with Asaase News expressed concern as they are uncertain how long these symptoms will prevail.
It felt like my head was going to blow off. I also had pain around my rib cage, but my recovery, on the other hand, is a mixed bag as well. I get a bit paranoid when I'm around people with the fear of reinfection. Occasionally, I do experience some of my previous symptoms, such as the headaches, the dizzy spells when I'm seated, occasional diarrhea, and sometimes breathlessness, because I think the recovery is a slow process one has to undergo in order not to relapse.
Knowing that I was negative for COVID, brought me some peace and joy. And here I am thinking that testing negative for COVID meant, you were going to be whole again. Unfortunately, I was negative, but I still suffer some post-COVID symptoms. And even as I speak to you presently, these post-COVID symptoms still linger in my body.
Later, a week afterwards, I started feeling weaker. With a little thing I do, you see my heart beating and palpitating and as it were. Even to the extent that when I'm bathing, I need to, as it were, sit down and bath because I can't be going up and down bathing. I'll get easily tired. And there was a general body pains as well, where you incessantly, you can't help it. I was coughing incessantly and I couldn't help it. And as I speak to you now, I still cough.
And you heard that some survivors of COVID-19 sharing the experience with Asaase News. Let's stay a little longer on this and speak to the chairman of the Ghana Medical Association's COVID-19 response team for more on this. And he's in the person of Dr. Frank Owusu-Setre. Doc, we're grateful for your time here on the Asaase Lunch News.
Thanks for having me.
So Dr. Setre, kindly let us understand, how is it possible that someone will test negative for the virus but then still experience some of these complications?
Well, I think COVID is a disease that we are yet to get the full picture of. We're still yet to unravel the full effect of COVID, and for very good reason. It is a novel virus, a virus that is new, something that we haven't had time to study. So it is not unusual for us not to understand a lot of things about the condition. But listening to the experiences that you played, that seems to be the picture that certain negatives may not necessarily be the end of all the symptoms that one may have. We have what we call the COVID long haulers or post-COVID syndrome, where even after the body has been able to clear the virus from the system, the after effects of the infection continues to linger for some time. And the commonest, as people have said, is the feeling weak. Some are, especially they lost the fish, it takes longer, sometimes 6, 8, 9 months, they still haven't regained their fish. The same for those that lost their smell. And the new thing that is coming out is what they call the brain fog, that we have a lot of people who tend to experience some brain complications, such as they are not able to concentrate, and then a lot of them also lose memory in some respects. So these things are real, well documented. Unfortunately, when it comes to unraveling why people go through that, the jury is still out. We haven't been able to get that. But it's only a matter of time. You may be able to unravel all these, and then that is the only time that we'll be able to put in measures to mitigate that.
Doc, so how can one manage some of these complications? We know the complications vary with every survivor, but then are there some basic things that they can do, particularly home remedies that they can practice to help mitigate some of these complications?
Yes, I mean, we have non-steroidal anti-inflammatories and such as dopamine, diclofenac, naclofene, and the rest that we can use to manage those that continue to have that chronic fatigue, the joint pains, and the rest. And they need to take something to at least try to help them get back to their normal self, albeit the time that the medicine is active. But by and large, there are some of them that we may not be able to do anything about. We just have to learn to live with it and be hopeful that the effect is going to wear off after some time. For example, if you lost your faith, there is nothing you can do to let you regain the faith, apart from just waiting for the faith back to regenerate and then come back. The same goes for the sense of smell. But for those that have pain, those that have the chronic fatigue and the rest, at least there are analgesics or painkillers that we can take. There are some multivitamins that can help you maybe boost your immune system so that you're able to come back to your normal self earlier. But majority of them, we just have to learn to manage them. But that also said, there are certain things that you may need to see a specialist for. For example, if let's say you're getting tired too easy, you have to make sure that the organism has not affected the heart muscle as well. So the ability of the heart to maintain its normal function is not impaired. If it is, there are certain medications that may help ameliorate those things. I mean, at least while the body learns to overcome all the inflammatory markers that are contributing to that, at least you'll be able to make sure that the heart is not overworking. Also, the same for other systems. I mean, if your kidney doesn't work, if it's the lungs or the liver, there's always a need to see the specialist in that field so that they will be able to take care of that, at least in the interim as we wait for the disease to overcome that.
Dr. Osu-Setre, very grateful for your time here on the Lunch News. And you heard the chairman of the Ghana Medical Association's COVID-19 committee in the Greater Accra region, Dr. Frank Osu-Setre.
Now, there are misconceptions about the COVID-19 vaccines, which has triggered discussions amongst members of the Christian community. However, the Christian Council of Ghana, including some Christian organizations, are urging their members to take the vaccines despite the misconceptions surrounding the COVID-19 vaccines.
There have been several misconceptions surrounding the COVID-19 vaccines. Popular of them is the belief that the vaccine may be linked to end-time prophecies in the Christian religion about the mark of the beast, a reference to a scriptural passage from the book of Revelation that suggests that the Antichrist will test Christians by asking them to put a mark on their bodies. However, a number of Christian groups have spoken against the misconceptions. The Christian Council of Ghana, in an interview with Asaase News, dispelled the misconception and urged that Christians accept the vaccine. Reverend Fayose is the General Secretary.
Let
of those theories are linked up with particular individuals. And the vaccines we are receiving in Ghana do not even come from those countries. So I encourage them to take the vaccine. So the medical experts from CHAG, Eastern Health Association of Ghana, come around to tell us that no, there's a problem with this vaccine. I will encourage you to take it.
Meanwhile, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, in a press statement, is calling its members to participate in the protective and preventive immunization programs. A section of the release states, "On current basis on the COVID-19 vaccine, we wish to inform our members that vaccines have long been used by Adventist church members throughout the world as we witness the global magnitude of the pandemic, the death, disability and long-term COVID-19 effects that are emerging in all age groups. We encourage members to consider responsible immunization." But the conversation as to whether or not members from the Christian community will be taking the vaccine remains unabated.
Now away from COVID-19 stories, and let's do some legal matters, because a 7-member Supreme Court panel adjudicating the 2020 presidential election petition has struck out the contempt case it instituted against Dr. Dominic Ayine, a former Deputy Attorney General and a member of the legal team of the petitioner, after the court concluded that he had purged himself of the contempt. Dr. Ayine stated in an interview with journalists after a Supreme Court sitting on the 16th of February that the Apex Court had a predetermined agenda to rule against the petitioner in the ongoing election petition. And my colleague Wilberforce Asaase, who was in court today, joins us in studio with more details. So Wilberforce, first of all, we know it was a very short sitting, but then who was in court and what happened today?
All right, so Dr. Dominic Ayine himself was in court. He was represented by his lawyer, Frank Beecham. Frank Beecham is a very known lawyer at the bar. And again, on the other side, you know that the ongoing election petition has Tony Litter as one of the lawyers. So Tony Litter was in court together with Marietta Bruopon, who is a former Attorney General under the Mahama administration. On the side of the first respondent, the EC lawyer was in court. And again, he says that his friend is Dominic Ayine. He was in the same room with him, and he was his best man at his wedding. Okay. And so he had to come and support him. Earlier on, I saw Yao Opong, who is a member of the legal team of the second respondent, but he had to leave earlier before the sitting.
Okay. And how we didn't get to witness this on TV. Was there any reason?
Okay, so the GTV crew, who are the ones providing the feed, were there. So I do know that it was covered, howbeit it was a bit late because the court had to sit at 9:30. Because they were not present, the court waited till 10 o'clock before it sat today to hear the matter.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor. Sorry for the update from the Supreme Court.
Let's still stay on legal matters, and the Wenchi High Court in the Bono region has adjourned until further notice the lawsuit filed by the 2020 NDC parliamentary candidate for the Techiman South constituency, Christopher Basongo Tibaire, challenging the outcome of the 2020 constituency elections in Techiman South. The NDC parliamentary candidate, Christopher Baire, had secured a court suit to compel the Electoral Commission to collate or recollate the said election results, as he alleges the results were not properly collated. The General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Asaase Nketia, after the court proceedings, expressed worry over unsuccessful attempt by the NDC's legal team in serving the Clerk of Parliament despite the suit being filed on January 11.
There has been difficulty in serving the Clerk of Parliament because of certain constitutional provisions that makes it difficult to serve either certain officers of Parliament and members of Parliament. And so since we started the process, we have not succeeded in serving the Clerk of Parliament. And based on the advice of our lawyers, we realized that Clerk of Parliament, after all, is just a nominal respondent, and that our case will not be heard that much if we discontinued the processes against them, so that we take Parliament out of and then proceed against the Electoral Commission and Martin Ayemansa.
And that was the NDC's General Secretary, Johnson Asaase Nketia.
You're still listening to the Lunch News here on Asaase Radio. Now, Asaase News gets results as residents of Asaase in the Mampugi-Maiduguri district will not have to travel hundreds of kilometers to access maternity health care in neighboring towns. Following a report by Asaase News Northeast Regional Correspondent Dukurgu Al-Hassan, a maternity ward has now been commissioned. There is more in this report.
In September 2020, Asaase News visited the facility and told the story of the poor state of the facility, the lack of a maternity ward, insufficient medical supply, and the need for a renovation. Key among the demands of the residents was a maternity ward, as a pregnant woman had to travel about 58 kilometers to access quality health care. With the commission of the 6-bed facility, residents of Asaase could heave a sigh of relief. The Member of Parliament for Yaraba-Kuboro constituency and the Minister Designated for Youth and Sports, Mustafa Yusuf, and the District Chief Executive, Mr. Abu Adams, on Monday, 15 February, commissioned the facility. The District Chief Executive of the area, Abu Adams, said there is still some minor works yet to be done in the clinic, but they cannot be waiting for all to fix before commissioning it.
It is the only better facility around the area that is serving people around Asaase, Nangruma, Center, Isebisi, Mugu. So we cannot keep it as a result of the minor works that are still need to be done, and the people have to be suffering. So it's because of the urgent need. That is why we are commissioning it to make it fulfill its intended purpose, so that the people will not be running to Fumbisi or Sandema for medical care.
Haruna Hussein expressed his gratitude but still appealed to well-meaning Ghanaians to come to their aid and provide all the necessary things for the clinic to run its activities.
We appreciate what they did to us. We are still praying that they should try all what they can do to make sure that all the necessary things that are supposed to be in the hospital, to make sure that they run out their activities, are provided. So we plead to the government and other private stakeholders to come into our aid by still getting us the necessary things that will enable the facility to run its activities well.
For Asaase News, I am Dukurgu Al-Hassan, Northeast Region, Asaase.
Now to other stories. The Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture will look at building a film and music studio here in Ghana to enhance the tourism sector. This will be realized when the sector minister designate Ibrahim Mohammed Awal is given the nod to man the ministry. During his vetting earlier this morning, the former Business Development Minister told Parliament's Appointment Committee that Ghana must take advantage of its well-endowed tourist attraction site to benefit immensely from the sector. The film and music studio will not only boost tourism in Ghana, but will also put Ghana on the pedestal to become the hub of film production in West Africa.
The chairman in Seychelles, what they've done even within this COVID period is have 28 days in Seychelles. It's a model. 28 days, you pay $40,000 for a family of 5. And that has attracted a lot of tourists to that area. That's Seychelles. I think that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have to grow our own strategies in Ghana. The chairman, when given the opportunity, we want to build a film and music studio. It's one element that can increase the tourism potentials of this country. We don't have any serious studio in this country. If we build a film studio, we're working very hard to acquire a studio. And that's one of the early things we do. The film studio we build would help in music and film production and make Ghana the hub of film production in West Africa.
So what other means can the country employ to boost internal tourism? The sector minister designate has the answers.
The Ghanaian people are very warm. We are very rich arts and culture. We have very good heritage sites. And we think that when we put our heads together, we want to, especially internal tourism. So, Chairman, we don't do much of internal tourism. And I want this opportunity to urge Parliament, eventually the people, to champion this internal tourism drive. If every time you go on break, if I'm given the opportunity, I want to organize members of Parliament to go around the country. We want to have corporate tourism, school tourism, religious tourism, and others. Apart from making people know all the parts of the country, It blends national unity and creates opportunity for a rural community. So I want to see that we can do a lot of internal tourism. To do that, we also need to improve our arts and culture. Good drumming and dancing is very important for us. Our national festivals of arts and culture will have to come back on stream. So I can create that. You can't have effective tourism without a good arts and cultural background. We need to develop all the three. It's intertwined. So we need to develop our arts, cultural heritage to enhance tourism.
And that was the Minister Designate for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Ibrahim Mohammed Awal.
Well, it's now time for sports, and Benedict Owusu gives us the latest.
Yes, it's match day for the Black Starlights, and their coach Karim Zito expects a tough challenge from Cameroon in their quarter-final encounter this afternoon at the ongoing Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations in Mauritania.
Anytime Cameroon is going to meet Ghana, from the senior side down to the youth, it's not an easy match for both countries, because both countries are all known for good football. So explosively, it is going to be very interesting, because we all want to qualify and we are all African champions. And sometimes it is good for you to lose it. That lose will awaken yourself that, hey, there's somebody who can beat you. So, and then winning all the time sometimes will also affect your mentality. So now the boys are ready. They've now seen that at least there's a country that can beat them, and then their objective is to qualify. Some of them, this is the last competition for them in the Under-20. So we are ready for whoever we are going to meet, most especially Cameroon, because Cameroon is a football nation and Ghana too is a football nation. And then from the senior side down to the youth, anytime the two, you can't predict until the end of the game. Everybody is going into win, just like me, inshallah. They are also coming, but at the end of the day, somebody will have to win, no matter how. So, and then we felt Ghana, we are going to do a lot of amendments because of our game we lost against Gambia. We are coming, make amendments, and then please our people.
So that was Karim Zito, who is coach of the Black Starlights team, and we wish them all the best in their game this afternoon. The match will kick off at exactly 4 p.m. Now, away from that, Ghana Premier League side Mediama SC have announced the exit of coach Samuel Bodu. Well, they failed to give reasons for his exit, but there are reports linking him to Accra Heart of Folk. We'll definitely follow this and bring you more in our subsequent sports bulletins. And that's sports.
Thank you very much, Benedict. Now, are you familiar with that vegetable known in our local dialect as ayoyo, as an immune booster? Well, the vegetable, which is leafy, green and slimy just like okra, can serve as a booster and help in blood circulation. Well, my colleague Sharifat Abdul Karim has been assessing the health benefits of the vegetable ayoyo and has put together the following report.
The jute leaves, or bush okra, locally known as ayoyo, is a vegetable rich in major nutrients such as protein and calcium and other nutrients that are good for the immune system. It is largely eaten by the people in the northern region. Ayoyo is normally sold with tuozafi, which is also a local dish. I visited a tuozafi vendor at Newtown in Accra, Jumai Inusa. She took me through the process of cooking tuozafi with ayoyo.
Ayim uya abai no kwa uya obema edua no ano no baby ayamara no enka uya na wa awuru mu ura no de share basket mu na nso na sone nso ni sone a na tam no wa yesho se wa nua ayo nso u de kan kakra enye kan fita no titi kan no de kakra gum ene dawodawa no wa pe na munketo no na wa wo ene epepe fefre na daka na odi yaje kakra papira kakra no do nso no na awuru no hu se nso na awuru kama no da ayo no agum ayo no nkasa be ewuru wi a so abafo abeno.
Although not a common meal like rice, some people are virtually addicted to tuozafi, and they say the reason for eating TZ is because of the nutritious value of the ayoyo soup.
It's very, very good for the immune system. You want to got it with tuozafi, that's TZ. And then if you have a constipation, it will release you very nice.
Yeah, it prevents heart diseases, lungs issues. We should be taking the ayoyo.
Oh, fine. If you say no, you're Muslim for a pedal, that one ayoyo. Any two no dear, tuozafi ne ayoyo.
Dr. Priscilla Copson Osabuti, a nutritionist, throws more light on the benefits of ayoyo and what it does for the immune system.
Major nutrients we have in ayoyo is vitamin K, we have folic acid or the folate, we have iron in it, we have vitamin A and vitamin C for slimy nature. That's due to soluble fibers, which are also very, very good for diabetics. It helps them control their blood sugar level. And when you have high cholesterol and you are trying to bring it down, ayoyo is also one of the great food ingredients to add to your diet.
It may be popular for tuozafi, but ayoyo can be served with banku, kokonte, and rice balls. Therefore, in these times when we have to make a conscious effort to boost our immune system, you may want to add ayoyo to your list of immune boosters. For Asaase News, Sharifatu Abdul Karim.
And back here in the studios, I am Karen Dodo. And before we go, some international news.
Zimbabwe is set to receive a further 800,000 doses of the COVID-19 vaccines from China. Zimbabwe's presidential spokesman, George Charamba, is quoted by the state-owned Herald newspaper as saying the move is indicative of the excellent relationship between the two countries and the Asian giant's willingness to give the Southern African state preferential treatment amidst the global stampede for vaccines. Zimbabwe bought 600,000 of the doses from Chinese firm Sinopharm, while the other 200,000 were a donation, bringing to 400,000 the total donated by the Chinese government. The Herald reported the vaccines would be enough for all frontliners or frontline workers and a large percentage of the elderly, those with chronic health conditions. The report added Zimbabwe plans to inoculate about 10 million people.
And more than 500 structures have been burnt this week in fires that appear to have been deliberately started in and around the town of Gije in Ethiopia's Tigray region. That's according to analysis of satellite imagery shared with the Reuters. Now, the cause of the fires is unclear, but Tigray has been hit by conflicts since November between Ethiopian-led troops and forces allied with the region's ousted ruling party, the Tigray's People Liberation Front, TPLF. Images collected by private satellite operator Planet Labs on Sunday and Tuesday, analyzed by security research organization DX Open Network, showed that at least 508 structures appear to have been destroyed by fire around Gije and 3 nearby settlements. They are about 35 kilometers southwest of the regional capital, Mekele. And that'll be all for the Asaase Lunch News. A recap of our headlines.
Food and Drugs Authority announces Ghana will establish COVID-19 vaccine plans as part of efforts to fight COVID-19.
Also, Supreme Court strikes out contempt case against Dominic Ayine after he purged himself of same. Many thanks for your time. There's more news on AsaaseRadio.com. My name is Karen Dodu.
I'm Nanajua Intuahagan.
Good afternoon.
Asaase Radio 99.5.